Gonna be a link above. Sega Genesis collection video. Because I had so much fun doing that video, I decided to do Sega Dreamcast today. Why not? Sega Dreamcast. And this is an OG shirt. This ain't no bullshit shirt I just bought off the internet. This is OG. This is when you pre-order at Toys R Us. You pre-order a console or a game like Final Fantasy VII. You put $10, $20 down, $5 down. I don't remember. They will give you a free t-shirt. And I hoard this out. I think I have another one sealed, put away. And that was so cool of Toys R Us. And then you can always return the pre-order, get your money back, and keep the t-shirt. So that was pretty awesome. I believe I also got a Final Fantasy VII OG shirt sealed away as well from 1997, right? So, and I also forgot to show off Rambo 3 on the Sega Genesis. So there you go. I forgot I had this. Now let's get to 99.99. That was a special day. That's the first day I started the 7th grade. The sun always shines on IS5. You know, that day, the sun was shining. But I really wanted to get the fuck out of there and go pick up my Dreamcast. I remember I woke up middle of the morning. It was like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. My brother and my cousin, they went out for the launch, midnight launch for the Dreamcast. And I was just seeing them playing NFL 2K, Soul Calibur, all these games. I was just blown away. I was like, yo, I cannot wait to get my Dreamcast. I just cannot wait. And just to see the jerseys actually having holes, the snow, them breathing, you can actually see the fog. It was just crazy, man. It was so cool back then just to see those graphics. It was just insane. It blew me away. I was like, holy shit. Can't wait for this day to end already so I can go to Toys R Us and get my Dreamcast. And my very first launch game was Power Stone. And then Friday I got Sonic Adventure. And then that Saturday I got Soul Calibur. I almost got House of the Dead 2. But because, you know, it's extra money because you need the gun for House of the Dead 2, obviously. I went with Soul Calibur. And, you know, no regrets. Those 3 games right there were fantastic launch games. And the Dreamcast, till this day, has the best launch games ever for a console. I don't care what anybody says. It has the best launch games. It offered pretty much everything from sports, racing, action, fighting, everything. It had everything. It was fantastic. It was amazing. It is a memory that I will always cherish because, man, you go to Toys R Us. I remember I went Saturday. My mom's like, look, I'll buy you a game. I'm looking at all these games. I'm standing. I was like, yo, there's so many games. Like, I don't know what to pick. I want all of them. You can only pick one. I picked Soul Calibur, but that day I'll never forget. And I remember the Dreamcast actually came out in 1998 in Japan, and I used to look at the magazines and like, oh my god, I can't wait to freaking get this. This is gonna be amazing. And $9.99 is a day I will never ever forget. I will always remember that and always cherish that forever and ever. Now, let's get to the games. Let's get to the games, all right? We got Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolves. Fantastic game. And by the way, if you're a collector, make sure you lay your games like this, okay? So you don't ruin the manual, the booklet. Lay it down like a baby, okay? Take care of your games, alright? Don't be an asshole. This I put like a double plastic and still has plastic inside. This is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Street Fighter 3rd Strike. Alright, look at that. It focused and everything. There we go. I had so many of these plastic protectors laying around. I said, you know what? Let me put like the really good ass games inside this for extra protection and leave it as is. Again, Power Stone 1 and 2. I have both of them. I actually like one more. But that's because, you know, it's just that childhood memory of like, wow, that's my very first Dreamcast games. And a lot of these games are games that I've purchased in the past. I didn't buy any of this shit now. This is something that I grew up with and I have saved all my life, unlike the Genesis. I wisened up a little bit more during that era than that time when I was buying Sega Genesis games as a kid. Now we got Project Justice. This is goes for a lot of money now. That's a fantastic fighting game. That's a fighting game
that needs to come back from Capcom. I just don't understand. Capcom has so many great IPs laying around. They're just not taking advantage of it. They're kicking ass the last couple, well, about a year or so. You know, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, sadly, fighting games or. Now we got Cannon Spike. It was a very good action game. King of Fighters Dream Match 99, I mean. I remember this one. Went to Toys R Us. I saw it, almost shit a brick, and I had to beg my father to get this. I was like, I need King of Fighters because I grew up loving King of Fighters on the Sega Saturn, and I needed it for my Dreamcast. And this was pretty much King of Fighters 98, but 98 is actually a really good fighting game. We have 99 Evolution. To be quite honest, I was never a fan from 99 2002. I never cared so much for all that. But I still own it because I love King of Fighters. And no, I don't own 2000, 2001, and 2002 import on the Dreamcast. Like I said, I was just never a big fan of that era of King of Fighters. We got Last Blade 2. We got a lot of SNK and Capcom games here. It's just a lot of fighting games. Jet Set Radio. Sword of the Berserk. Very underrated in my opinion. I used to play the shit out of this. This is another game that I was in New Jersey because I used to have my grandma, my aunts, and all that stuff. Go to just similar story to King of Fighters. I saw it. I had to beg my dad, like, yo, man, I need this. I want this. Such a violent game. You know, a little bit sloppy here and there, the gameplay, but overall, I still enjoyed it. I played the shit out of it back then. Virtua Tennis. I was always a fan of Virtua Tennis. I just love. This made me fall in love with tennis games. Virtua Tennis and the other one I believe was 2K2 or whatever. But the Virtua Tennis games, yo, man, I used to put so many hours. I used to game with my cousin with this game, and I just love Virtua Tennis. The Typing of the Dead. I actually do have the keyboard here. Nice. Take it out. Yep. I got the keyboard. It's typing. I'm actually quite good typer because I went to take business courses on a vocational school, and my type skills are pretty good, pretty quick. I don't even need to look at the keyboard. Yeah, there you go. Useless information. We got Giga Wing 2. I think I have one. I'm not too sure, but most likely I like 2 more than 1. Good shoot 'em up. The Smash Pack Volume 1. I never understood why they didn't release more volumes on this for the Dreamcast. I just don't understand. Sonic Adventure. Obviously, gotta have that. Sonic. I remember when that first came out. I was blown away. That was that game just alone is fantastic on the Dreamcast. Part 2. I wasn't too big a fan of Part 2 because of that whole like. What sucks about this one is that big cat. I couldn't stand that shit. I couldn't stand the Knuckles looking for the buried treasure crap, and then 2 was just too much because you had the female version and then Knuckles, and then you had Rogue, and then you had to do all that collecting shit. I just hated it. It just slowed down the game so much for me. That's just my opinion. This is pretty much the closest thing to Twisted Metal. Vigilante 8, Second Offense. I played a lot of this. This one I really liked a lot. Heavy Metal, I wasn't too fond of it. Don't care too much for it. Virtual Cop 2, imports. I'll eventually get to the imports. This I collected a while back. But I think about a month ago or 2, I started collecting and getting into more imports. I think the only one I really want to get is Third Strike and just call it a day. I'm not going to be too obsessive. Still collecting Dreamcast games. We got Sports Jam. It's decent. It's alright. Tony Hawk 2. I don't love Spider-Man. I think it was Spider-Man in Part 2, right? I used to play the shit out of it just for Spider-Man. I just wanted to use Spider-Man. That's all I cared about was Spider-Man when I would play those Tony Hawk games. Test Drive Le Mans. This was actually a pretty good racing game. Good sim. Obviously, Code Veronica. I'm surprised I don't have a plastic seal on it. I don't know why. I just remember that whole Capcom Edge. You go ahead and ruin the manual. I remember the PlayStation ones were in the back. Wait, oh yeah, you had to cut off the code and all that shit. Well, what a waste. It's just a way of ruining a nice game, ruin the condition. And by the way, the majority of the conditions here are probably good to mint. Now we got Zombie Revenge. Pretty good game.
Grand Theft Auto 2. I never bought this. I probably stole this from my cousin. It's mine. I'm a collector. He's not, so screw him. Stormwind. I actually have this one sealed. This is sealed. This is my brother gave me. I think this is more. This wasn't a re-release. This was like when it first got released. He gave me this. I never bothered to open it because you could just burn the games and play it on the Dreamcast. Plasma Sword. Gauntlet Legends. Gauntlet Legends is fun with a friend, but by yourself is quite of a bore, in my opinion. Got Spider-Man, which came out on the PS1, N64, and whatever else, but this was pretty good and ran great on the Dreamcast, in my opinion. Dreamcast was the version to go. F355, the Ferrari Game Challenge, pretty good, nice little sim racer right there. Bangio. Oh my god. Bangio. Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one, obviously. My favorite versus game, it will always be X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I just love X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I'd rather play that than the Marvel vs. Capcom games. And I know I'll get some heat for that, but that's just me, man. Resident Evil Nemesis 3, JoJo Bizarre Adventure. By the way, all these games are complete. Like I said, I bought these when they started coming out back then on the Dreamcast. I would get almost, well, obviously not every single Dreamcast game, but obviously when it came to fighting games, I would definitely jump on it. Dead or Alive 2. Crazy Taxi. Yeah. That's the Offsprings. Street Fighter Alpha 3. Street Fighter 2 Double Impact. You know, the first Street Fighter 3 games, Double Impact, not Double Impact, I'm an idiot, a New Generation Second Impact, the music was great. The music was fantastic. I actually like the music slightly more on those than on Third Strike. Tech Romancer. To be quite honest, I never liked this. I remember when I first bought this, I played it. I almost got rid of this game. I'm glad I never did. I'm glad I kept it because it's actually quite, quite pricey. But it never did anything for me. I never really cared. But I should definitely jump on it, play it again because everything deserves a second chance. But I remember when I started it, I was like, I'm just not feeling it. This is not for me. But I know a lot of people love that game though. Gunbird 2, that's another game that doesn't have a seal. Wow, I just threw this shit in there, huh? I'm such a bad boy. Let's put that over there with Code Veronica. This one I played a little bit. This one's alright. One thing that Dreamcast suffered like big time was RPGs. And it had a lot of great RPGs. Everyone loved Phantasy Star. I never liked Phantasy Star. I know people are going to be pissed off and like, why, man? That's such a great game. I just found it so boring, so slow. I could never get into it. Never. Then again, I had any friends to play with. So that's a game that you play with friends, obviously. But just couldn't get into it. And I don't understand why Sega is not jumping on that now. Monster Hunter is such a huge hit for Capcom. Pretty much, that's all what gaming is today. It's online gaming. They should really take advantage of obviously in America, it will generate so much money for them. I still don't understand why they had not jumped on it. It's just pure stupidity in my opinion. We got the Knights on Dreamcast. No, I did this on purpose because there will be a Sega Saturn video when, I'm not too sure. That video is going to be it's going to be a long ass video because I got so many imports. Not a lot of American games, but a shit ton of imports. So that's probably going to be easily like a 30-minute video because I'm just a huge fan of the Sega Saturn and I love the Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn comes number one. Dreamcast, it's difficult between the Genesis and the Dreamcast. It's hard to go with a number two. So, but I don't want to get into that because this video is just mainly Dreamcast. We got another Saturn game. Jesus Christ, Biohazard. This is a friend that gave me for free. Mr. Bookworm or whatever. I call him Eli. Thank you, Eli. Capcom vs. SNK. I love this one. This one was really good. Like 2 gets the praise and the love and all that shit, but this is really underrated. This one, if you love 2 and you never played this one, jump on it. Don't sleep on this shit. We got Crazy Taxi 2 and Resident Evil 2. Beautiful. This I definitely remember. I remember when this first came out, I got this. Now, let's get to the imports. I got a bunch of duplicates, but I don't think I'm gonna have them here under the video. I'm not too sure if there's some duplicates there. Oh, I've got Soul Calibur. I have another copy of Soul Calibur. Didn't I just showed you guys a Soul Calibur? I don't know. I got a shitty memory. So we got Capcom versus SNK 2. We got Double Impact. I remember I bought this. I actually imported this. And I just could not wait to play some Street Fighter 3 on the Dreamcast. As you know, a lot of these Japanese games came out first, and then it would take a couple months or a year for the American version to come out. And I imported this, and I have zero regrets. I was just blown away. Like, wow, that's so cool just to have that before this would release in the States. Now we got Orgasmic Smash. Oh yeah. No, Cosmic Smash. This is an unusual game, but actually quite fun if you're big into tennis. Seaman. I don't have Seaman. I remember I bought Seaman when it first came out, and I said, man, what the fuck am I playing? I think that's a game that will be extremely popular today. They should release something that's similar to it. Sega's another company like Capcom that just have so many IPs that they could do so much with it, but they don't. They just let it sit there and just pretty much not do anything with it, which is a crime. It is a crime, okay? Yeah, I didn't show you, so I got another copy of Soul Calibur. There we go. It was up there. Outrigger. You know, I was never into it because I was using the controller. I've never used it with the mouse, but I decided to pick this up. This brings with the mouse and the game. This is sealed, actually. I just don't want to open it and use the mouse. But using the controller, I thought this game was just sucked ass with a controller. I remember I did buy back then, and I said, you know what, I don't want this in my collection. I don't care for it. I decided to trade it in. Similar to like Seaman, you were speaking to the mic. It wasn't really very responsive. It was just weird as hell. But this Outrigger, I never really cared too much for Outrigger. I don't have a Confidential. It's like a ghetto James Bond shooting game. That I don't have in my collection. I believe I had that back then. I decided to trade that in, and I regret that. I wish I still had it. Extreme Sports, import, Power Jet. Yeah, Power Jet Racing. Actually, I slightly like better. I like Wave Race better on the N64 and GameCube. But not saying that this is a bad game, but it's just decent at best. But I prefer Wave Race more. Now we got Guilty Gear X on the Dreamcast. This is a really awesome fighting game. Definitely a fantastic Guilty Gear game. I like this one. This is one of my personal favorites. And X2 on the PS2. Power Stone 2 Japanese. Darkstalkers Vampire Chronicle on the Dreamcast. I got these fan discs or whatever. I bought two of them because they were dirt cheap. I said, you know what? I don't care. Let me have it. This one and this one. We got the first one, Capcom vs. SNK, and we got the Pro. And the Pro, what it all brings is what, Dan and Joe, right? And we got another copy of Power Stone import. And like I said earlier, I really want to own Third Strike. And Fighting Vipers 2. This only came out in UK and Japan, never came out in the US. And it was a must-own for me because I do like Fighting Viper. And this was actually a pretty good damn Fighting Viper game compared to the Saturn one. The Saturn one was good too, the first one. So there you go. These are my Dreamcast games. Just looking at it brings a lot of memories. You know, I just put so many hours into all this shit. My original $9.99 Dreamcast still works. Still works to this day, which is awesome. I actually own two other Dreamcasts as well. Not complete in the box or anything, just loose and all that stuff. But overall, the Dreamcast was a very underrated console. It died too soon. It died too young. It should have lasted way longer than it should have. But because PS2 and everyone was jumping on the DVD and all that crap, because Dreamcast didn't have a DVD. And it's just Sony. Sony just built itself a powerhouse with the first PlayStation,
Sega made itself look pretty bad with the Saturn, but the Saturn, the bread and butter of the Saturn was always the import games, no matter what. American, not so much, but the imports were amazing. As for the Dreamcast, it just did both. It did wonderfully on the American side and the Japanese side. It was just pretty much an arcade inside your home, because a lot of these ports from the arcade to the Dreamcast was pretty much flawless. Dreamcast, like I said, man, underrated console. I absolutely loved it, and I'll never forget $9.99. It was such a great day to just, as a kid, experience that launch. Just going in there, Toys R Us, picking it up, and just go back home and play it and be like, whoa, and be blown away. So there you go. This is my video. Saturn video, most likely maybe next week, 2 weeks. Not too sure, because what I'm doing here, I'm packing up all this shit. I'm moving out sometime later this year or early next year, and I'd rather just pack all this stuff up so I don't have to worry about anything later. And think the Saturn will only be the only video I will show my collection. The Blu-ray, DVDs, 4K, whatever, that's going to be some other day, I don't know what's going to happen. But overall, I want to appreciate everyone who took their time watching this video. Thank you so much. And keep on dreaming, alright?